to Make, Share, Grow, a podcast about art making and the creative process. I'm Julie Marriott, painter, mother, and lover of bold and joyful color. Come on into my studio. I hope what I share here about my art practice will inspire you in your own creative journey. Hello, friends. It is so good to be back on the podcast with you. How are you doing? Wow, it has been a while. The last season of the Make, Share, Grow podcast I recorded in 2019, and now it is 2021. And last year, of course, 2020 was a crazy, different year for us all, and I was just so busy, didn't have time to record the podcast, but I'm really looking forward to connecting with you in this way again. I love podcasts, as I know you know. And so I am just really looking forward to being able to share my art journey again with you in this format and just kind of hang out with you wherever you might be when you're listening. Before we dive into a whole new season, I thought I might just do a quick overview of my last year and what had been going on in my business and with my art, and just a few of my takeaways from last year in all of my art creation. So I had kind of 3 to 4 big projects that I did last year. And I kicked off the year with a collection of paintings that was really special to me. It was called my Flourish Collection. And they were 6. It was a collection of 6, and they were all 24 by 30s. But I really branched into some new ground with these paintings that I was really excited about. I painted the figure along with my florals. And that was a long time kind of brewing in my mind. I think a year before I painted them, I had actually written down the idea on a list that I keep on my phone. I keep a note on my phone of painting ideas, and it had been something that I wanted to do, but I was actually really scared to do because the figure is a whole different ballgame, you guys. Painting the human figure. But I had a vision for it that I wanted to paint abstracted women. So not a portrait-like figure at all with, distinct features. I wanted to paint them in a way that was very universal feeling and used expressive color and used kind of broader, more abstract strokes to paint the figure along with my florals. And I really pushed myself to be very loose and not try to resolve the paintings fast. Generally, I love jumping into the details as quickly as possible, but I really forced myself to get through all 6 of the pieces before I put on like those really crisp finishing touches. So that was just such a beautiful, freeing collection to paint, and it really was new territory for me. And that kind of taught me that ideas can brew for a long time, and they'll find their time, and it's okay to do things that are a little bit scary. I was definitely hesitant, I think, starting out. I felt very uncomfortable painting the figure, but once I kind of got into the series, it started to feel really beautiful and natural and just really freeing to paint something different. So that was my Flourish collection. And then, you know what? The shutdown happened and everything went on pause for a long time. And I was home with my family and my husband was working from home. And so the next collection, or the next project I did, actually, it was a painting a day project. It was a 30-day painting project, and I followed another artist's prompts. Another artist on Instagram was sharing a flower a day and that she was painting, and so I decided to follow along. Her name is Helen Dealtree, and I love her work. She's a watercolor artist. And so I decided to kind of go into a painting a day project and following those prompts. And but I also decided, because we were all home together, or home away from each other, actually, home with our families, away from our friends, looking for things to do at home, that I would share my painting process and record a tutorial video with each day's painting. And so that was a huge project. It was filming, it was teaching, it was painting. And, but I wanted to give to my community in that way, to give to you guys, in a way that could kind of inspire you and give you something to do at home while I was working on this project in my home. And so, I honestly wasn't really thinking about selling the paintings when I started the project, but I got some requests and then began selling them each week as I made the paintings, and ended up painting several paintings a day. So actually 2 paintings a day after the first week, and just really made a ton of paintings. It was a really fun, intense project. It was very intense, and I definitely would not have been able to do it without the support of my husband being home. And our girls are 5 and 2 now, and so he was there to help out with the kids while I was in my studio filming and uploading and posting and sharing and painting and all of those things. Because I'm still very much a full-time mom at home with my kiddos. So that was just an amazing, really, really fun project. And the response to all the videos and the paintings was huge. You guys were so generous. My audience on Instagram was so generous and bought the paintings and followed along with the tutorials. And so that was just an amazing boost of energy in my art practice. And so many people were asking to have the paintings, or if I would paint more of them, that I decided to open up a round of pre-orders. So I curated a selection of the daily paintings and put them up for pre-order to paint kind of semi-custom versions of them. And those pre-orders went so well and kept me busy for the next basically 6 weeks after that. And so, yeah, that was just a really crazy busy time. And kind of the lessons that I drew from those projects were that there is so much energy behind a daily painting project. And I've shared that definitely before in other episodes of the podcast in past seasons, that when you paint something every day, it just really gets your creative juices flowing, and it gets you on a roll and gives you momentum. But it also is just so fun for your audience and for your audience to follow along with. And so it just really gives them something to show up every day and to respond to and to talk about, and something to look forward to from you every day. And so there's so much wonderful energy from a project like that, but it is also incredibly draining. And so I was creating at a sprint for those 30 paintings, or for those 30 days. I actually produced 55 paintings for that project. And then rolled straight on into doing the pre-orders and then painting all of those for several more weeks. And I honestly got very tired. And so I find that I kind of go on a cycle. If I paint for other people for a while, I just get super hungry to paint for myself with no restrictions and no expectations. And so I find that ebb and flow whenever I do a commission or something for someone else that's balancing another person's expectations and desires with my creative flow. I need to kind of come back from that with my own personal projects. So yeah, after doing the floral pre-orders, I went on into my own collection, and I really wanted to explore birds. I had done some bird paintings just kind of scattered throughout my past, but had never really focused on them. And of course, birds are outdoors with flowers, and they just feel like such a beautiful pairing. And so I created my garden grown collection. And that was 15 paintings. It turned into a series of 15. And they were a little bit more on the medium scale side, I would say, a more very comfortable side for me. I believe they were 16 by 20. Some of them were 16 by 20, and some of them were 20 by 24, I believe. So that was a beautiful collection that I had so much fun exploring. It was something very different for me, just even like wrestling through, compositions on how to fit in a bird figure in with my florals. A lot of the time, what really gets me going and gets me excited is compositional challenges in my paintings. And so, just having that challenge of a totally different element, this bird figure. And so some of them were in flight, some of them were sitting at rest on a branch, and then kind of tucking them in with florals. And I decided to kind of go with a how would you say it? Like a way of painting my flowers where they were kind of growing upwards, where it felt like a garden. And so they were a little bit more seated, like in a context that felt like they were growing up from the ground, I guess is a good way of saying it. So, and just playing with expressive strokes and textures in the backgrounds of those paintings, and even just kind of feeling my way through how I would even layer a bird and build up its colors. That was just such a fun collection. And it was also really fun building and putting together a story around the collection. And I made a video about the collection just with music. And I also created like a collection story is what I called it. So I narrated as it was another video where I wrote a piece talking about my inspiration for those paintings and kind of the story that I found through the paintings as I was creating the collection. And so, creating those 2 extra pieces that kind of were, they were accompanying, I guess that's a good word for it. They accompanied the collection, kind of helped tell the story. I felt like that was a really big step for me. I forgot to say for the Flourish collection at the beginning of the year, I also made a video. And so this, in 2020, it was a big step for me to kind of elevate my collections in that way and to be able to tell the story of the collections in a more visual format than just writing about them. And so, the Garden Grown collection, that was so much fun. That was 15 paintings, and I launched that right before my family moved. We moved not very far away. We're still in Southern California, but my husband works at a school, at a K through 12 school, and my daughter started kindergarten there in the fall. And so we moved to be closer to the school and for my husband, for my daughter. And we moved out of a very small condo into a slightly bigger home. And we are just so happy here, so blessed, so thankful. But that was a big transition for me and for my art because we moved into a house with fewer bedrooms. It was actually much more spacious, much more room to live, but fewer rooms with doors. And so, my studio now is set up in the corner of our kitchen dining room. We kind of have an open plan kitchen dining room that is so beautiful, has so many windows, has so much light. But I used to have my studio in the 3rd bedroom of our old home, and it had a door, and it definitely, like, I was sharing the room with our kind of office area and some storage. So it was small, but it was a little bit more of a straightforward enclosed area. And so now I'm kind of in this open plan in the corner. And so, it's been taking a little bit of time to get used to and to get my setup and to kind of find ways of adjusting and getting all of my supplies organized because it's just sort of all out in the open now. So we've been doing much more storage in the garage and hiding away all the ugly things, all the things you don't want to see, like packing boxes and crinkle paper and packing tape and labels and all of that stuff. So I'm really excited because we just in the past couple days have made some big steps in beautifying my little art corner. So now I have a gorgeous bookcase, some bookshelves that we got that are white and minimal and beautiful and have glass shelves, and I can display my art on them and my supplies on there next to my desk, and also have baskets on it that can kind of hide away some supplies. And so I'm really excited about that. And the other big fun, just sort of, exciting thing, I guess I could say, that I purchased for myself at the end of 2020 was an actual super gorgeous, beautiful wooden easel. It's an H-frame easel. And I have been dreaming about owning an easel like this for years. And it just never made sense in the tiny space that I was in before in my old studio. So I always worked on a foldable tripod easel that was like an aluminum travel easel. And it just was able to fold up and store in a corner when we needed more space or when I needed more space to kind of work on different projects. I could just stick it away. But now that I have actually more room to kind of maneuver around because I'm in this larger room, I decided to pull the trigger and buy myself a beautiful wooden easel. And you guys, I feel like a real artist now for the first time. It's kind of silly to say, but I am in love with this easel. So, it's just wood and so sturdy and is not going to, fall apart if my daughter walks by and like grabs one of the legs. And so it won't collapse on me. So, anyway, that was a really fun thing that I got to do to add to my studio in our new home. And so, I'm getting settled in. And then at the end of 2020, I created an ornament collection of hand-painted ornaments, and that was for the second year. I did that at the end of 2019 too. And but this year I created more. I created almost 100, and that was also a big step for me, creating that many ornaments. It was 96. And so I had 6 different designs and photographed them really beautifully in a way that I was very proud of, and almost had them all done before Christmas, right before Thanksgiving, and launched that collection. And that was received really well and was just a lot of fun and something that I'm looking forward to returning to every Christmas season. And then along with the ornaments, I also launched my first print collection for the year, or the first print collection ever, but it was for the Christmas season and in time for gift giving. And I was able to get images from the past collections of the year and launch a beautiful print collection that I'm so proud of. They're just really lovely quality. And I made the decision to use a printing company who will drop ship the prints for me. And so that means that they will print them and ship them directly to the buyers so that I do not have to handle shipping or printing. And that is something that I am really excited about because honestly, I just don't have time to create art and ship out prints continuously. And so, I thought it was a wise use of my studio time to just hand that off and pay someone else to do that for me. And so that has been going beautifully. And I'm looking forward to just adding to that print collection as time goes on as I create new artwork and am able to add, curated collections of those to my print collection. Woo! So it's been a busy year, you guys. It has been a very strange and different year, life-wise with COVID and the shutdowns and everything, but it's been a really beautiful year for my art business, and I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful for everybody's support through it all. So yeah, it's been wonderful, and I'm so glad to be back with you. What I am planning on doing for the new season of the podcast is something a little bit different. Every season, I've been trying to do something different. The first season was just me solo shows. The second season, I did interviews. And then I was thinking about what would make this next season easy for me and will work really well with the flow of my creativity, because podcasts are a lot of work, and editing is a lot of work. Organizing interviews takes a lot of time. And so I'm going to take a break from doing interviews. And for this season, I thought it would be fun to do something that I'm going to call an audio journal. And so as I begin 2021 with a new painting collection, I thought I would create an episode every week for you guys, talking over what I've been working on that week and kind of documenting the process of a painting collection from the very beginning to the very end. And I'm sure it will have its ups and downs, its learning moments, all of those things. But I thought it would be a fun look into my process to be able to share just all of the different steps that go along and kind of while I'm in the middle of it. So I'm really looking forward to that. I will be starting that in the next couple weeks, and we'll be dropping episodes weekly or every other week. I haven't quite decided what the best flow for me will be, but you can keep an eye out for them to be dropping and for new episodes to be popping up regularly as I work on this new collection. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. I am so excited to be back on the podcast, sharing this creative adventure with you. And I'm really excited to dive into this new season of creativity and to share it with you all along the way. Okay, bye for now. Thanks for listening to Make, Share, Grow. You can keep up with the podcast and my artwork on my website, juliemarriottart.com, and on Instagram @juliemarriottart.